Is this thing on? It is. All right, I'm DaRock. Welcome back to the channel. We are once again going to be talking college basketball. It's the best time of the year, March Madness. So whether you've been here since November or you're just showing up in March, welcome to the channel and be going through giving my pick for each game here, as well as then my pick to win the region, as well as, maybe some dark horse teams. So make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow the show on Spotify, rate 5 stars, and then while you're down there, make sure to check out the links in the description. I'm doing a bracket challenge. Since we hit 50 subscribers here on the channel, and I said I'd do a giveaway, I'm going to be doing a $25 gift card to the winner of the bracket challenge. You just have to be following me on at least 2 platforms, whether that's YouTube and Spotify, or any social media like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. So I'm posting a lot of stuff over there as well. So let's get into these picks. So we start here with the first game of the tournament here in the East region at 12:15 on Thursday. The TCU Horned Frogs, a 9 seed, 22-11 on the year, head to the 8th seed Ohio State Buckeyes, who are 21-12. So like I said, this one starts tournament 12:15 Eastern time on CBS. So Ohio State playing some good ball here down the stretch. They lost in the second round to Michigan in the Big Ten tournament, won their final 3 games heading into that. TCU, same thing, lost in the second round to a Kansas team is just the better squad, but had won 5 straight games to close out the regular season heading into the Big 12 tournament. So Ohio State players to watch: Bruce Thornton, their leading scorer, as well as Devin Royal, their leading rebounder, and Bruce Thornton also leading assist man. John Mobley and Christoph Tilley also are the kind of go-to guys there for the Buckeyes, but really it's just Bruce Thornton likes to take over this team. On the TCU side, it's David Punch. He's their leading scorer, scoring nearly 15 points per game, as well as their leading rebounder with 6 rebounds, and then Brock Harding, leading assist man for them. Xavier Edmonds and Jaden Pierre are guys to watch, as well as Latoris Laviscus, a guy that comes off the bench, can shoot the ball for TCU. So looking at the rankings, Ohio State's 26th on KenPom, TCU's 43rd. Ohio State has the better offense, 10th in offense efficiency to TCU's 72nd. Same thing. TCU has a slightly better defense, 28th defense to Ohio State's 41st. So a little bit of a contrasting styles here. TCU not necessarily quick, but Ohio State likes to play this game particularly slow. They're 268th here in pace, and that's where I just kind of think the difference is in this one. Looking at the projection, has Ohio State projected to win by 6, even though we're looking at a currently 2.5-point spread for Ohio State, opened at 4.5 all the way down to 2.5 now, 147 or 146.5 as the total. I think this one's going to be a lower scoring game, still probably played in the 60s to maybe gets into the 70s, but it's just one of those. I like Ohio State's Bruce Thornton. I think he's the best player here on the court. I'm not really sure that TCU's going to have an answer for him. I mean, David Punch is go-to guy for TCU, but he's more of a big. So guard wise, I think Bruce Thornton's best player on the court, and I think he leads the Buckeyes to the win. Then next here at 2:50 Eastern time on CBS, the 16 seed champions in the MAC, the Sienna Saints, 23-11 on the year, take on the Duke Blue Devils, number 1 seed, 32-2, champions of the ACC. Duke opens as a 27.5-point favorite with a total set at 135.5. So Duke, the Blue Devils, red hot. They've won 11 straight games, winning the ACC, despite missing some key players like Patton Ngongba and Caleb Foster. So playing some good basketball here. Sienna, same thing. They win the MAC. They won 4 straight games, so they're a nice win there in the MAC. So looking here at the players to watch for Duke, it's Cam Boozer and Isaiah Evans, plus Malik Brown and Caden Boozer. Also really going to be guys that are going to have to play a key role here with guys like, Ngongba still probably out for this first game. We'll have to see there. And Caleb Foster probably won't be back until the Final Four if Duke is fortunate enough to make it that far. As well as, look out for guys like Nick Kamenia and Dame Sarr to play some big roles off the bench. On the Sienna side, their leaders, Gavin Doty, scoring nearly 18 points per game with nearly 7 rebounds. And then Justice Schultz, their leading assist man, with 4. Riley Mulvey and Francis Folek, also guys to watch for the Saints. I'm looking here at the KenPom numbers. Duke, obviously number 1 team on KenPom, as Sienna is 193rd. Obviously, Duke, a lot better offense, a lot better defense. Looking here at the projections, has this being 29 points on Haslametrics, 27, or I'm looking at 24 here over on Torvik. Both these teams play slow. That's maybe the only reason where maybe there's just not enough possessions in this one to get up to that number, but I think Duke should win this one pretty easily, and I think they cover that number. Then next, we have the 12 seed Northern Iowa, 23-12 on the year, champions of the Missouri Valley, taking on the 5 seed St. John's, who is 28-6 on the year, champions here of the Big East. This one's at 7:10 Eastern Time on CBS on Friday. So looking here at the spreads, St. John's currently a 10.5 point favorite. The total set at 131.5. So both these teams playing some good basketball here as of late. Like I said, won their conference tournament. St. John's has won 6 straight games. And outside of that blowout loss to UConn, they hadn't lost since early January against Providence. Northern Iowa hot at the right time here. They've won 5 straight. They win the Missouri Valley. Like I said, got lucky they didn't have to face Belmont, the 1 seed, but after taking down Illinois State Bradley and UIC, they're the lower seed team in all those games. So really nice run here, playing some good basketball at the right time. So Zuby Ejiofor, obviously the player to watch here for St. John's. He's their leader in every statistical category, but Dylan Mitchell as well as Bryce Hopkins have been playing really well as of late. Guys to watch out for there for St. John's, as well as Dylan Darling's been playing well as too. The really one downside of this team is they don't really have like a true point guard. Ian Jackson is that, but he's their 6th, 7th best player. On the Northern Iowa side, player to watch here, Trey Campbell, scoring nearly 14 points per game and with 4 assists, as well as they have guys like Ben Schweiger, who can really fill the bucket as well from beyond the arc, and then Tristan Smith, leading rebounder. He's probably the best player here for Northern Iowa, especially for their big men, with 5 rebounds per game. So he's another guy that he's going to get tasked with guarding Zuby Ejiofor, and it's not going to be an easy task here. So the KenPom ratings for these teams, St. John's 17th on KenPom, Northern Iowa is 71st. Looking here at the efficiencies, both these teams good defenses. St. John's is 10th in defense efficiency, Northern Iowa is 22nd, but the difference is really the offense, where St. John's is 38th and Northern Iowa is 146th. Also contrasting styles in this game. Northern Iowa is really going to want to try to slow this one down. They're 359th in pace on Haslametrics to St. John's is 88th. Looking here at the projections, we're looking at about a 10-point game here according to Haslametrics, and probably around 8 or 9 point game on Bart Torvik. So I do think St. John's covers the spread. Northern Iowa is a team, I like their squad. I think it was a team that before the tournament, I was like, I could see this team pulling off an upset, but I just think this matchup with St. John's probably isn't the greatest, a team that I think can keep up with them scoring-wise, so I'm going to go with the Red Storm to cover and get the win. Then moving on to the 4-13, we have the Cal Baptist Lancers, 25-8 on the year, champions of the WAC for the final time, taking on the 4-seed Kansas Jayhawks, who are 23-10. So currently looking here at the spreads, Kansas has jumped up to a 14.5 point favorite after it opened at 9.5. A total set at 138.5. So Cal Baptist, like I mentioned, champions here of the WAC for the final time. They take down Utah Tech and then Utah Valley in the tournament. Really fun there late night against Utah Valley. They've won 6 straight games overall. Their last loss was to Utah Valley back in February. Kansas, on the other hand, not great down the stretch here. They lost in the semifinals to Houston, but got blown out in that game. So maybe not playing the greatest ball here as of late. Team leaders for this one, Flory Badunga leads the way for Kansas. He's their best player. He's averaging nearly 9 rebounds per game. Trey White's the leading scorer with nearly 14. And then obviously Darren Peterson, guy to watch for Kansas. Really just kind of depends, is he fully healthy? Is he going to play? So far, I think he will. I haven't seen anything that says he won't, but those are the go-to guys for Kansas, as well as Melvin Council has played some, big minutes as well, especially when, the games that Peterson hasn't been in. On the Cal Baptist side, Dominique Daniels, their go-to guard. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's averaging over 23 points per game with nearly 3 assists, so he's definitely the guy. They like to get the ball and like to score. Thomas Ndong, leading rebounder, and then guys like Martell Williams and Devin Malcolm, also the leaders for this Cal Baptist team. So Cal Baptist is 107th here on KenPom to Kansas, is all the way at 21st. Looking here, both these teams pretty good defensively. Kansas is the 9th defensive efficiency. Cal Baptist 49th, so obviously not as good as Kansas, but better than Kansas's 56th offensive efficiency. But really in this one, Kansas is just the better team. Granted, now it has kind of ballooned up to that 14.5. So Kansas, like I said, should win this game easily. It's maybe a bit of a high number. A lot of the projections I'm looking at here have it around like 10 to 12. So if you got in early on it, I definitely like it. 14 might be a little high, but I'd probably still play it. So give me Kansas to win and to cover. Next, we go on to the 6-11 matchup where the USF Bulls, 25-8 on the year, champions of the American, take on the 6th seed Louisville Cardinals, who are 23-10. This one is at 1:30 Eastern Time on TNT on Thursday. So USF, like I'm mentioning, champions here of the American, and they're red hot. They have not lost since January 31st. So the entire month of February, entire month of March here, have not lost a game since. Louisville, on the other hand, maybe not playing the greatest ball as of late. They did win their last 2 regular season games and then won their first matchup against SMU in the ACC tournament before falling in the quarterfinals to Miami. So looking at the leaders for each team, Ryan Conwell, go-to guy for the Cardinals. He's their leading scorer with nearly 19 points per game, as well as an Ali Khalifa, second best player. He's averaging 2.6 points per game. And then Sanaju Fru is their leading rebounder with 6. Guys like Javon Hadley, Adrian Woolley, also guys to watch for this Louisville team. Michael Brown was their go-to guy, their best player, but he's out. Probably he's not going to be playing at all in this tournament. But then we go over to the USF side, and that's where, they got some guys here. Wes Ennis is their leading scorer, but I honestly think Isaiah Nelson, their leading rebounder, who's averaging nearly 10 rebounds per game, is their best player. Plus, then you throw in C.J. Brown, another dynamic guard for them, averaging nearly 5 assists per game, and then Joseph Pinion, another guy to watch for this Louisville team. So looking here, Louisville is 19th in KenPom, and then USF is 48th. Looking at the efficiencies here, USF 71st offense and 40th defense. Louisville's 22nd offense, 17th defense. Looking here at the pace, both these teams like to play very quick, which is one where then, you might just say the better team, that kind of favors them. And, in the projections here, we're looking at, Louisville by about 7. I'm going with the upset in this one. I really like Isaiah Nelson and C.J. Brown, as well as Wes Ennis. Like all of USF's guys, like I said, they haven't lost since January. They've been playing some really good basketball. And Louisville, on the other hand, really not super impressed with. Plus, like I said, they're dealing with some injuries. So I'm going to go with an upset pick here. I'm taking USF to win. Then in the 3-14 game at 4:05 Eastern Time on TNT on Thursday, we have the North Dakota State Bisons, the champions of the Summit League, 27-7 on the year, taking on the 25-7 Michigan State Spartans. So North Dakota State, like I'm saying, champions here of the Summit. They beat Oral Roberts, Nebraska, Omaha, and North Dakota, their rivals, in the title game there. Didn't have to face the 2-seed St. Thomas, so got a little bit lucky, but they were the regular season champs and now tournament champs. Michigan State, they've lost their last 2 straight games. Granted, had won 5 straight before that, but they lost the regular season finale to Michigan, and then lost their first game of the tournament to UCLA. So they're at least going to have a lot of rest here heading into this game, but granted, the Summit League title game was a while ago as well, so both these teams well rested. On the North Dakota State side, they're led by Damari Wheeler-Thomas. He's scoring 14 points per game. Then Trevion Kaysen, their leading rebounder, with 6, and then Andy Stefanovitz, their leading assist man. Trayson Anderson, another guy to watch there on the North Dakota State side. For Michigan State, Jeremy Fears, the leader, averaging 15 points per game, as well as 9 assists, and then Jackson Kohler, leading rebounder, with 9. Plus, you throw in guys like Carson Cooper, Cohen Carr, and Kerr Tang as well. So pretty deep team here for the Spartans. So Michigan State, they're the 9th rated team here on KenPom, and North Dakota State is 115th. So pretty big spread there. Michigan State 21st offensive efficiency, 11th defense to North Dakota State's 134th offense, 97 defense. Michigan State 240th in pace, a little bit quicker than North Dakota State. We're looking at about a 14-point game here in the projections, 14 to 16 points. The spread is around that 14.5, with total set at 143.5. Both these teams can score, but I don't really think North Dakota State's going to be able to hang with Michigan State. So give me the Spartans to get the win and to cover that game, plus probably go under. Then in the 7-10 game, this is one I'm really split on. The 10 seed, the UCF Knights, 21-11 on the year, take on the 7 seed UCLA Bruins for 23-11. This one's at 7:25 Eastern Time on TBS here on Friday. So UCLA currently 5.5-point favorite in this one with a total set at 152.5. The Bruins went on a bit of a run here in the Big Ten tournament, beating Rutgers, Michigan State in their first 2 games before losing to Purdue in the semifinals. UCF, on the other hand, won their first game against Cincinnati in overtime, a game that pretty much sealed the Golden Knights being here in the tournament, but then lost in the second game to Arizona pretty handily. So the team leaders, Tyler Bilodeau, leading scorer for UCLA, with then Eric Daly Jr. leading rebounder, and then Donovan Dent, the leading assist man. Donovan Dent and Bilodeau, if they're healthy in this one, going to be really tough to slow down for this UCF team, as well as Sky Clark's another guy to watch for this Bruins team. On the UCF side, Jamichael Stillwell, their best player. He's their leading rebounder as well with 8 points per game. Riley Kugel, their leading scorer, with nearly 14. And then Themis Folks, another guy to watch in that backcourt with nearly 7 assists per game. So looking here on KenPom, UCLA is 27th in KenPom to UCF's 54th. Projections, we're looking at about a 6-point win for UCLA, is what both Torvik and Haslametrics are projecting. I think this is going to be closer than that. Looking here at the efficiencies, UCLA is 12th in offense and 56th in defense to UCF's 48th offense, 76th defense. UCF likes to play really fast. That's how they're going to win this game. They're going to look to get out in transition, have guys like Stillwell, Folks, and Kugel all really score, especially Folks and Kugel. Being those dynamic guards, and then it's just going to be, can guys like Donovan Dent slow them down? Can you score an assist at a similar rate? And yeah, really it's just kind of, for me, it's if Bilodeau is healthy, same thing with Dent. I know they're battling a little bit of injuries there in the Big Ten tournament, and it's just hard to find out, seriously it's just hard to find out, with injuries, how well these guys are actually doing. Like, I think they should play. I think they should be fine. And UCLA is a team that I kind of like their chances to go deeper than UCF. I think UCLA can give UConn a battle here in the second round. So for that reason, I'm going to go with the Bruins to get the win. Like I said there, I think probably around a 6-point game. So right now covering the spread. So give me UCLA to get the win and to cover. Then the final first round game here in the East region. The 2-seed UConn, 29-5 on the year, takes on the 15-seed SoCon champion Furman Paladins, who are 22-12 on the year. This one's at 10 Eastern time on TBS on Friday. So currently at the line, UConn's a 20.5-point favorite with a spread of 136.5. The Huskies stumbling a little bit here down the stretch. They do reach the Big East title game, but lose to St. John's in that game, so they lose the season series, and also lost out on having a chance to win a share of the Big East regular season title in their final game. Samford went on a bit of a run here in the SoCon. Furman went on a bit of a run in the SoCon, taking down Samford, UNC Greensboro, and East Tennessee State before now their draw against UConn here in the NCAA tournament. So Silas Demery, leader for UConn with 6 assists per game, and then Terrence Reed, leading scorer and rebounder. Plus, guys like Alex Caravan are still there. Freshman Braden Mullen's been playing really well throughout the year, and then Solo Ball is their point guard. On the Furman side, they're led by Alex Wilkins, scoring 17 points per game. Charles Johnston, their leading runner, with 9, and then Wilkins also leading assist man with 4. But guys like Cooper Bowser and Ben Vanderwall are also some players for Furman that play a really big role here for this team. So Furman is the 190th team on KenPom, to UConn being the 9th. So not the 9th for UConn, the 11th. So pretty big drastic difference there. Furman 210th offense efficiency and 184th defense to UConn's 25th offense, 13th defense. Plus, both these teams like to play pretty slow, both 260 plus in pace. Looking at the projections, we're looking at around 21-point game here on Haslametrics, 18 on Torvik. I think UConn wins, obviously. I don't think they should have any problem with there, but I wouldn't be surprised, Furman maybe sticks around a little bit in the first half, ends up covering the spread. So give me Furman to cover, but UConn to win. So looking here at the odds to win the region, Duke obviously the favorite, the 1 seed at -130, but then UConn at +550 and Michigan State at +750, and then Kansas 1,200 as well as St. John's 1,200. So for my pick to win this region, I'm going to go with the favorite Duke. I think that's the safe bet. Granted, I think for a 1 seed, they did get a bit tougher of a path than you would have expected, being the number 1 overall 1 seed. I mean, the game against UConn will be no easy task. Game against Michigan State, same thing. If it gets that point in the Elite Eight, even, Kansas or St. John's could give Duke a game in the Elite Eight, but I am going to pick the Blue Devils to win this region. If I was going to go off the page, if I was going to maybe pick my dark horse or sleeper team, it would probably be Michigan State at +750. I think, Tom Izzo's teams always perform pretty well in March, and I could see them going on a bit of a run here. Other than that, it would maybe be like a St. John's or UCLA. UCLA if you got really deep down the page. But my pick to win the region is Duke. I think they take down, like I said, that Michigan State team in the Elite Eight here. That's going to be my pick in the East region. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out all my other videos on each region. Dropping one on each region. The East and West coming out on Wednesday morning here, once all the matchups are set there. And then the South and Midwest will come out Thursday morning before the game. So make sure to check those out. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment your picks down below. While you're down there, make sure to join my bracket pool as well. Giving out a $25 gift card to the winner, free to enter. You just have to follow me on 2 platforms, whether that's YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. So just show me that you're following 2 following me on 2 of those platforms, and the winner will get a $25 gift card if that's the case. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out all the other regions, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.